Hey guys, Swordsman here, bringing you a beginner's guide to Rush today. As many of you may know, Rush is a very popular game mode in Battlefield 3, but there are some of you that may be new to the Battlefield franchise that could do with a little bit of a guide for how to succeed and have fun in the game mode of Rush. At its core, Rush is a fairly straightforward game mode that is easy to learn but difficult to master. Each round sees the attackers and the defenders squaring off over a set of Mcoms at each particular base. The defender's role is fairly straightforward, with their task being to protect the Mcoms at all costs to stop them from being armed and then detonated and destroyed. The attackers have a bit more of a proactive approach where they need to be the ones to take the aggression to the defenders, move into the enemy base, execute flank routes to be able to infiltrate the enemy lines so that way they can get in there, arm the Mcoms, and then defend them until they explode. This is made more difficult by the fact that the attackers are limited by a certain amount of tickets. A ticket is a simple representation of how many respawns the attackers have left to try to get the set of objectives at this current base. Every time an attacker is killed, one ticket will be wiped off the board. Every time an attacker is revived by an assault class, that ticket is then placed back onto the board to keep you into the fight and make reviving in battle a more viable and powerful tool to execute on the battlefield. The defender's job is more of a straightforward role. They are tasked with setting up defensive positions around the Mcoms, guarding the flanks, dealing with enemy aircraft, enemy armor, and protecting the Mcoms at all costs. Their main goal is to see that the attacker ticket count reaches 0 before both Mcoms are destroyed at a certain base. If they are successful in hitting 0 in the attacker tickets, they win the game. If the attackers are successful in blowing up both Mcoms, they get a fresh set of tickets and they advance on to the next base. Each Rush map can have a variety of Mcom stations ranging from 3 to 5, usually 4 or 5 Mcom bases, where you have to arm and then detonate each set of Mcoms to advance the game and to finally win. This puts a bit more pressure onto the attackers as they need to continuously succeed at every base, whereas the defenders could fail on the first few but then dig in and make a tougher stand at one of the later Mcom stations and be able to successfully win the game without having to defend the entire complete set of Mcoms throughout the map. One of the reasons I enjoy Rush in Battlefield 3 is the variety of tactics and gameplay styles that it really favors and encourages that can really find something to fit everybody's desired playstyle. If you'd rather barge into the front of the base that you're attacking with a heavily armored tank, you're free to do so. If you'd like to stay on the ground and run around to a wide flank, whether it's on foot or in a jeep or a quad, you're welcome to do so with finding the various flanking maneuvers. But perhaps you'd like to take to the sky up in a jet or a helicopter to circle around the enemy base, deploy attackers into the base via parachute, or simply land right in front of the Mcom to allow your team to deploy out and set up an Mcom charge. At the end of the day, no matter how hard the attackers try, they simply will not win if people are not willing to get into the action and risk their lives to set the Mcom charges. Never before in Rush has DICE made this so appealing and incentive heavy for people to get out there and set the Mcom charges. As you've seen throughout the video, planting an Mcom will give you 100 points, and if it detonates, it will give you 500 more points for a total of 600 points for the Mcom charge. Alternatively, if you're the one disarming the charges as a defender, you gain 200 bonus points. This is a very heavy XP incentive to get out there, arm and disarm the crates. If you're looking for a way to rank up quickly, there is probably going to be no quicker way than to be setting a lot of Mcom stations, as well as just protecting them. Battlefield 3 is a very good game when it comes to rewarding objective-based players because never before have we been rewarded with so much XP and credit towards the overall scoreboard performance when it comes to playing the objective the way it's intended to be played. Also worth noting is that there are a variety of audio and visual cues to help make playing Rush a little bit more user-friendly. At the top of the minimap, you'll always see the status of the Mcoms. If the two squares are blue, you're defending. If they are red, you're meant to attack them. If one of them is planted, whether you're an attacker or a defender, the outline of that box will begin to flicker and glow and blink and make all sorts of a racket with audio cues with sirens and warnings going off. So that lets you know that, hey, you need to get down from where you are, run over there and try to disarm it. Or if you're the attackers and your teammate has said it, you need to migrate to that area and try to defend that charge so that it explodes and your team gets the detonation of the Mcom and you progress to the next base or have to go get the next Mcom. It's also been made easy to determine whether or not your teammate is arming or disarming an Mcom station. Whenever they are in the process of setting a charge or disarming one, there will be a circle graphic appear above the Mcom that will begin to fill as their progress goes through the disarming or arming process. This can let you know that your teammate might have it, or if their disarm failed, their arm failed, whether or not you need to get over there to begin to pick up the slack, or whether or not you need to back off and defend any would-be attackers or defenders coming to interrupt them. So that way not everybody rushes to the Mcom and then stares blankly as they mash their keys trying to begin to arm the Mcom when somebody else has already established the process. Also worth noting is that there are audio cues whenever an enemy is planting or disarming your charge. If you are within close proximity to the Mcom, you can hear the buttons being pressed to disarm or arm the bomb, so that way you can know to take action to get in there to get them to stop them from disarming, stop them from arming, protect your charge, whatever it is that the case may be. And lastly, it is important to realize that a game will not end if the attacker tickets hit 0 if an Mcom is already planted. That Mcom must be defused. The game will not end because you reach the attacker scored limit of 0 respawns left. You absolutely have to go and disarm that crate. Otherwise it will explode and the next base will be available or the game will be won, leaving the attackers victorious with that Mcom. And a final aspect of the Mcom charges is that if you begin disarming an Mcom, that Mcom will not explode while you are in the disarm process. This adds the added benefit that it is never too late to begin disarming an Mcom, that you can always have time to get in there and begin the disarming process, as it will not blow up in your face. This essentially concludes all the vital info that a beginner to Rush needs to know to be able to get in there and begin having fun playing the Rush game mode in Battlefield 3. As I said, Rush offers you a variety of playstyles and decisions to make while playing the game, whether you're an attacker or a defender. However you feel like playing, there's bound to be a way for you to enjoy that particular Rush mode on that given day. The possibilities are only limited by your own imagination and creativity when it comes to enjoying the gameplay of Battlefield 3. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Hopefully this has helped you get into the mindset of that there are many ways to enjoy Battlefield 3's Rush game mode and to get after those Mcoms and earn those points. Take care guys, I'll see you next time.